Okay, if you don't know, my name's Nick. I live in upstate New York, Catskills to be specific. I do a lot of working on a truck, working on a shop, working on a house, that sort of stuff. Quick tip videos. If you like that, subscribe. I bet you'll be happy with the content. Today we're going to be talking about these Bushwacker fender flares. A couple people noticed in one of the previous videos that I had fender flares on. And I didn't do a video on it because I really kind of wanted to understand, first, if I was going to keep them, and two, it's like, what's the best way to really tell people how to put these on, because it actually is not easy. And when I say, I actually would say this is hard. This is not an easy, you would think to yourself, I don't understand, you just put this, screw them in. And in fact, you may, if you know what these are, this is, first of all, these are the smooth finish ones. They stick out 3/4, they're about 3 3/4 high. They're called like OE style, that's what Bushwacker calls them. There's no drilling holes. You take out the screws that are already in there, you put this thing on and you screw it back in. Whew. What's so hard about that, right? Well, here's the problem, is that most of these trucks come with the mud guards right here and over here. And if you read the comments, I bought these on Amazon, and they cost a lot of money too. We'll get to that next. If you read all the comments, they say, you know, I wanted to keep the mud guards. I wanted to keep the mud guards. I had to cut every fender flare. You got to cope it around it and notch things out and all kinds of crazy stuff. And I'm like, what in the world? I was like, ah, this can't be that bad. I get them in, and it's a nightmare. It is a nightmare. You have to cut every single fender flare on this side and that side. You got to do 8 cuts. And I was like, you know what? This is ridiculous. I was like, let's see what it looks like without the mud guards on. Let's just take the mud guards off. So I took the mud guards off, and this didn't look that bad. I think it looks pretty good actually without the mud guards. I don't think it's a big deal. Another thing I noticed when I took out the mud guards, there was mud totally and completely caked up on the inside. I was like, this will never come out. And what's even worse than that is that in the winter, when it's salty, disgusting mud, it's going to cake up in there. And not only, now my panels are going to be rotting from the inside out, just like everybody else's, but now I'm going to be getting outside in. So I said to myself, you know what? Not only does it look great still without the mud guards on, it's better for the car. So I just removed the mud guards. No more coping, no more notching. Now the installation of these fender flares is simple. So this is the first tip I'm going to give you, is that just take the mud guards off. I mean, they're not even mud guards. I don't even understand what... This is just so when you get mud on this part, it doesn't look like it's on there, because it's a black mud guard, right? And you get the mud on there, you don't see it, right? But if you didn't have it on there, mud gets on here, it dries. It's pretty difficult to get off. Clear wrap. That's what I would suggest you use in this spot when you take off the mud guard, because it's going to make cleaning very easy. But the point is that it's just looks. It's not a mud guard. Right? It's like a mud guard for looks. It's really it's a mud mitt. It just catches the mud. And you just look back there, it's just a mud pile back there. So in my eyes, that's bad for the car, and it doesn't hurt the looks by removing it. So that's what I did. I think it looks great. That's what I would suggest. Then it's just a bunch of 3/8, no, 5/16, right? It's a 5/16. Yes, it's a 5/16 socket cap screw. You're going to have some leftovers though. These don't line up on a couple of them, which confuses me. I don't know why they didn't just drill the holes. Maybe it works for the 3500 too or something. I'm not really sure, but a couple of these holes don't line up. I got a hole here and a hole here behind this thing, but there's no hole in the fender flare. Now if you want to drill, you can do that. You can drill through this fender flare. But these other ones are nicely recessed. These wouldn't be recessed. So I don't. So you're gonna have some leftover screws. You put those in your drawer or something. The next thing, well, you know what? Before I get to this, let's talk about price. $400. That's not cheap. Now, I think that $400, if you have to notch out every single side, meaning 8 notches you got to do, that's a terrible price as far as I'm concerned. Terrible. I would say that is just way too much money. It's too much work for $400 for pieces of plastic. Now, if it's $400 and they just go on super easy like this, Now I like it because it take you, I don't even know, 10 minutes of fender flare. Honestly, 10 minutes of fender flare. These ones right here are a little annoying because you can't get, right? You can't get a an impact in there. You got to use something like this, like a right angle if you got a pneumatic, or obviously if you have a right angle Milwaukee, which I wish I had. I don't have one. It's going to make these couple ones easy and these two over here easy. These up here, you can just get an impact in, but in reality, it's just this one, and that's really it. So a right angle is probably going to help. If not, then you could just got to use a ratchet. That's a little annoying. Or maybe a screwdriver that, with the attachments that you could put in that's short. That would be nice. A ratcheting screwdriver would work as well too. But so $400 is a little bit. That's a little bit much. That's a little bit much when you have to notch them out. The next thing that was interesting is that goes back to the price too a little bit as well. I ordered them for $400 from Amazon. Again, I'll link them in the description. They came in. I opened up the package and they had some scratches on them, and I was like, "That's strange." It looks like it was from the factory, all wrapped up. Didn't look like they were opened up at all. So I said, you know what? I got time. No problem. I'm going to pack them right back up. This is why Amazon is so great. I'm going to pack them right back up, and I'll just return them and just order it again. So I happened to go onto the site to do the return. I look at the listing, and now it has a $50 coupon. Well, that's pretty sweet. So I returned the one for $400, bought it again at $350. It came in. These had scratches as well. Now, I'll just to let you know is that I didn't wait a week. I didn't get the same ones. This is another set and had scratches on it. Here's what I think is going on. Bushwacker thinks that you're going to paint these. So, their QC in the warehouse, not in manufacturing, they don't care too much. They think you're going to paint them. Now, I might paint them. Same color as the bumpers. But I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit frustrating. You go back to that $400 number, and it comes in, and they all kind of got little scratches. Now, I'm not talking like the entire thing is a waste. I'm talking like there's a little scratch here, maybe a little scratch there, a little scratch here, and it definitely looks like it's something that has to do with like the mold. Is that the mold just kind of, I don't know, it just has imperfections in it. And when they pop them out, those imperfections are right in the plastic. Now, the next thing is this. There's a lot of talking in this, and I apologize. But there's a lot of information here. And in reality, putting these things in when you don't have to notch them around the mud guards, there's not even anything to show you. This information is actually the most important part. Something that people complained about, besides the fact that you got to notch every single one of them, is this rubber sealer that they include. And it goes right up against the car. Now, if you notice, I got the rubber sealer in my hand. It's not on the car. I put it up without it. Why? Well, because I wanted to see what it would look like, because I knew that this thing is a giant pain in the rear end. It's a sticky one. And I think that it's very difficult for this to stay on as you're putting it on. A lot of people talk about you need two people to do this. You don't need two people. I actually ordered, and I'll link this in the description as well. This is a bigger piece of rubber, but it's very deep. I think it's 11/16. There's no sticky stuff on it. It just attaches right here. And I saw a couple people talk about this. Now, this is going to cost you another $35. It's like $16 per 15 feet. You need two 15-footers. That's what we're going to put on in this video right now. We're going to see if it works. All right, definitely putting this rubber on is simple. This is about as simple as it gets. So I like that. Application wise, that rubber is way better. Probably worth $35 just right there. Yeah. All right, let me do the other wheels, Let me do the other fenders, and then we'll get it outside. Hopefully we got some sun, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, I have to say, very happy with the way this looks and was applied, how easy it was. Yeah, it's a couple extra bucks, but I think it's worth it. It's going to last so much longer than the stuff that they give you. That stuff that they give you is garbage. Honestly, it's just held on by glue. The wind coming this way, you go up against some bushes or something like that, you're in the woods and, you know, with the pinstriping, that thing will just catch that, rip it right off. It's just glue holding it on. It has the shape of like a windshield wiper blade. This is way better. When you look at these two next to each other, you might say, oh man, this one is so much bigger. But in reality, it's not. It's a different shape. Half of it is inside the fender flare. It's just a different type of gasket. It's just a different type. I think it looks good. It's simple, but yeah, you're going to pay for it. And considering that these 4 pieces of plastic cost $400, without that, you're looking at another 35 bucks. When you're all said and done, taxes, you might be 450, 460, whatever it happens to be. That's a lot of dough. That is a lot of dough. But I mean, I think it looks good. I think it breaks up the silver a lot. It's not gaudy. It's not crazy. Doesn't stick out crazy far. 3/4 of an inch. That's really it. I mean, it's 3/4 high. For me, I think it was worth it. I don't really spend a lot of money on looks. Even the wheels are kind of like half performance, half looks. So looks-wise, I think it's great. Kind of makes the side of the car in my eyes. I'm happy with it. All right. Thanks, everyone. See ya.